How long did it take to develop the complex imagery that we have here behind you?
Well, I've been making light sculpture for over 20 years, so it's been a long journey. And a lot of that has been developing my own custom software and experimenting with different types of arrays, different types of lights. It's a constant evolution in terms of the code, which is the really important back end for me. With this particular technology, these LED arrays I've been using for about a year and a half. So we've done a few other installations, but this is definitely the fullest expression. So there are 9 different works in the exhibition. Behind me is a piece called Detector, which is kind of this large mural-like piece that uses my own custom software to create non-repeating patterns of light that are very layered and create this sense of immersion. We're using the same LED array and density throughout the exhibition. They're works of different scales. Some works, the smaller pieces, are called instants, and they're unique works. But what's special about those is that they each have their own programming, but then they're also synchronized together. So the 3 have moments of synchronicity where you might notice that something occurred across all 3. So they, something registers in the brain, and then they start to evolve from there and kind of degenerate. And so it's this kind of this loose coupling between them. I'm thrilled to have the Illuminated River project happening here in London, which we've been working on for 3 years, and just premiered the first 4 bridges in July, and we're working on the next 5 for next year. And so it's really the bridges are quite powerful, and even though there's a variation in their time spans and their functionality, each one is special and interesting. So we're activating them one by one, and again, there'll be a sense of synchronicity between them.
What's fascinating about those bridges is they react to the environment and they change the colours quite subtly, but to respond to the water and the sky. And much of your art does have that element of evoking nature without trying to challenge it or copy it.
Yeah, I'm interested in, with the Illuminated River, in responding to the site. So the kinetic activity that surrounds the bridges. So obviously the Thames is like almost a living thing that rises and falls 5 meters twice a day. So it's this churning mass, and I found that to be really fascinating. And particularly the inspiration that the Thames has had for artists for literally hundreds of years, from like Handel's water music and Turner, Whistler, Monet, and so many artists responding to the bridges, the atmosphere. It's very inspiring. So channeling a lot of that into my work, although I'm using very contemporary materials of software and light. It's quite different, but I think connected to some of these ideas. And I think the responsiveness to the site is what's really important to make them a mirror of the activity around them. I think there's something very pleasurable about looking at water, looking at a sunset, these universal things that we all respond to as humans, and trying to channel some of that into what I'm doing through software and light and these very artificial means. But somehow it adds up to more, and we engage in a way that is quite unique. And I think the emphasis on abstraction is really important, that we're removing logos and any kind of messaging and anything that you would see out in the commercial world, because a lot of the technology I'm using is used for that purpose. But opening that up and creating a highly subjective space for viewers to really immerse themselves in, and they can look at it or not, and it's non-repeating, so you didn't miss anything when you come in, and it will never be exactly the same again. So it's something that I think fascinates people, and it's interesting to see how they respond.